Hey guys, super excited to be with you. Today we're going to be talking about fix and flips. We're going to be talking about BRRRRs, and we're going to be talking about wholesaling. And all three of these strategies can be extremely profitable and can help you depending upon what goals you have. They can help you accomplish different goals. So based on your circumstances, based upon the property itself, it can help you make a determination on what strategy is right for you. So today I'm going to talk you through figuring out which of these three strategies you should be doing, what's right for you, and what may be right for different properties. So stay tuned. Here we go. All right, let's jump back. Let's see. There we go. Let's get, whoops, wrong one. There we go. Hopefully you can see me and hear me okay, guys. Let me test. Sounds like you can. Super excited for you to be with me today. We're going to be talking all about how to tell if you should fix and flip, BRRRR, or wholesale a deal on today's live cast. So what are we going to cover? We're going to do a finding tip. Every week we do a finding tip. Today we're going to be talking about auctions, the difference between fix and flips and BRRRR and wholesale deals. We're going to be talking about that, when to use each method, when it makes sense, my pro tips for determining which method is best for you. Let's get right into it. We start our live cast with welcome and updates, which is what we're doing now. And we jump into a little bit of real estate news and talk about what's happening in the real estate market. Then I go through that finding tip of the week, which I told you we're going to be chatting about. And then we do the topic of the week, which is which one of these three strategies is best for you. Now, our world famous, I say world famous, with a grin, t-shirt giveaway. I'd like it to be more famous than it is. We also go through a free tool of the week, something that you can take, you can use, and apply. All right, guys, so this show is for entertainment purposes only. And before we make any financial moves, consult with a real estate professional, attorney, CPA, or other professional in the subject matter. Everybody's situation is different. There is not one size fits all. DHM may receive payments on the show from sponsors, guests, forms of books, items, discounts, or other remediations. As with anything in life, results come from education, hard work, determination to follow through until the end, and following a system. Okay, guys, if you have not already, please type your name and the state you're investing in the chat. If you're listening to this as a recording, put it in the comments. I really love to know where you're investing, and I like to build content around that. If you're here live, type it in the chat. I'd love to know where your guys are at. Now, t-shirt winner giveaway. You're saying, hey, what's going on with your t-shirts, Ryan? Well, let's talk about them. Here's one of the t-shirts. This is our summer edition. This is our Flipping Legend summer edition. We've got our DHM logo. Let me show you. We should do that nice here. We got our DHM logo on the side, on the sleeve. Really, really nice. Then we've got our, let's see here. I made it through rehab shirt, which is world famous, as we've talked about. And then we've got our I Flippin' Did It shirt. It's got a little DHM on the back, which is kind of cool. And then we've got our fall edition Flipping Legends. It's got our little DHM on the back of that. And then this is the new one. This is the one, Oh Flip, one of my favorites, and it's got our little DHM on the side there as well. So we'd like to give away t-shirts. And what we do and how we do that really comes down to your interaction in those things. So at the end of today's live cast, we'll be announcing last week's winner. And if you want to be the winner of this week's live cast, starting now until next week, we'll announce next week's winner on next week's live cast. So make sure you take a photo of yourself when you get these shirts, post a picture, with you wearing the shirt would be super awesome, and put it on our Facebook page, facebook.com/DoHardMoney. We would love to see you wearing one of these shirts. Now, if you want a free, who wants a free shirt? Maybe that's where we should start. How can you get a free shirt? Is asking great questions, leaving positive comments, having lots of interaction, and commenting on the recorded video. Each one of these videos, once we go live, ends up on YouTube, and you can go watch it. I've been accused of talking too fast once or twice in my life, so you can go back, rewind, watch it, those types of things. And each week we choose one winner. We pay for the shirt, we pay for the shipping, we will send it out to you. All we ask is you take a picture wearing the shirt and post it on our Facebook page. So really appreciate that. And for those of you we've sent shirts to and haven't done it yet, go do it. Okay, I really need your help, guys. We are currently at 6,650 subscribers. My goal is to get to 6,715 by the end of 2021, and we are getting close. So we have 65 more subscribers I am looking for right now. If you're currently not a subscriber, please hit that subscribe button. We'd really appreciate it. So every single week, I put new weekly videos together, and they answer a specific question. These are different than our live cast because these videos are anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes long, and they answer a specific question. For example, what's the biggest rental mistake? Or should I rent the property or should I flip the property? Those are questions that I answer in detail. And as a matter of fact, if you've got a question you'd like to have me answer, if you type it in the comments to one of these videos, we'll put that in the queue and I will answer that question by creating a video to answer your specific question for you and for all of our other amazing YouTube subscribers. So if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is DoHardMoney. Hit the bell notification. That'll let you know anytime I'm doing a live cast. It'll send you a little reminder. And of course, we love your thumbs up when it comes to the videos. If you leave a comment on a recorded video, that's like the biggest thanks you can give me, other than telling someone else about this live cast and about our DoHardMoney YouTube channel. Really appreciate you guys sharing. Really appreciate you being with us. Okay, so stay until the end, because at the end, I'm gonna give you away my assignment of contract template, okay? I'm gonna give you my assignment of contract template. I'm gonna be giving that away tomorrow. Real estate market update. Let's talk tomorrow. At the end of this live cast, I will be giving you the assignment of contract template, and you'll get a copy of it at the end of the live cast. I don't know why I said tomorrow, but it's actually today. So at the end of today's live cast, we'll give you a way to get a copy of that assignment of contract template. And if you don't know what that is, that's something you use when you're wholesaling. It's a great thing. You're gonna wanna get your hands on it. Stick around until the end. Man, I probably should get a drink of water. I'm all over the place. Real estate market updates, what's happening next. All right, guys, what is happening in the real estate market? Let's talk about it. TikTok changed my life. Real estate agents find huge success on the app, according to CNN Business. In the midst of a global pandemic, the real estate market has been on fire. Demand for homes has soared, pushing prices up to record levels. Competition is so intense that homes are selling in record time with multiple bids and all cash offers. During the height of the pandemic, real estate agents across the country discovered that social media platform TikTok was an ideal way to safely show prospective buyers homes. Now, some are saying the video app has revolutionized the way they sell real estate, and it is here to stay. Sutton said 100% of our business now comes from TikTok, and our commissions have almost doubled. The brokers told CNN spoke with Join TikTok only just 2 years ago, and they believe the app is the future for real estate. It'll be interesting to see. Meta Universe, you've probably been seeing this. What is this? It's a virtual reality, right? Zuckerberg is really into this. He's trying to create this virtual reality, and if there's virtual reality, he wants to create virtual real estate. So Meta Universe Group paid $2.43 million to purchase land in this Meta Universe. The thing about land is supply and demand, right? So what I don't understand with this Meta Universe thing is you can always create more, but in the real world, you can't create more real estate. And if it is virtual reality, why do I need to even go there? I can go somewhere else, or I could just fly somewhere. I don't get it, but it's something I'm keeping my eye on because it's interesting and weird to me. So CNBC, Fed says China real estate troubles could spill over to the United States. Stresses in the Chinese real estate sector could strain the Chinese financial system with possible spillovers to the United States, the Federal Reserve said Monday in its financial stability report released twice a year. The Fed has been criticized for not seeing the vulnerability of the U.S. housing market and U.S. banks prior to 2008, he said in an email. Referring to the financial crisis at the time, therefore, anything related to real estate and banking system risk anywhere will be scrutinized excessively. According to CNN Business, Zillow's home debacle shows us how hard it is to use AI, which is artificial intelligence, to value real estate. In February, Zillow appeared so confident in its ability to use artificial intelligence to estimate the value of homes that it announced a new option for certain homes. It's called the Z estimate. They would purchase the property for that price. And that'd be their starting price, okay? The move touted by company executives as an exciting advancement and was intended to streamline the process for homeowners considering selling to Zillow as part of the home flipping business. Zillow promoted this option as a way to make it convenient for sellers to sell during the pandemic, and they thought they were going to make millions with this one. Well, guess what, Zillow? You guys did not. The decision announced last week marked a stunning defeat for Zillow. The real estate listing company took a $304 million inventory write-down. They lost $304 million in the third quarter of 2021, which they blame for recent house purchases. The prices that they purchased was more than they think they can actually sell them for. The company saw its stocks plunge and has to lay off 2,000 people, which is 25% of their staff. The fall of this business venture doesn't just talk about the challenges in buying and selling for profit. We know those challenges. It also highlights how hard it is to use artificial intelligence to help make expensive, real-world, practically ever-changing market that can be hard to predict months or even weeks out. Okay, guys, the CEO of Zillow explained the shutting of Zillow offer by citing unprecedented forecasted home prices that far exceeds what they thought they would get out of them, which is kind of funny because the market's been going up, so they paid a lot more than they should have for them. If they can't sell them in this type of a market, they've really overpaid for those properties. The Z Estimates Facts provides comparables, homes nearby, and used to calculate an estimated sell. Zillow explained on its Zillow offerings webpage to homeowners who may be interested in selling their property to the company. The page now notes the company is winding down the services and isn't making any new offers. Zillow offers, but has sold many fewer than it snapped up. The properties it actually bought, they bought 27,000 homes and they've sold about 17,000. They've got 10,000 in inventory and they've lost $302 million so far, or $304 million so far. Be interesting to see how much they actually use. Now, this is interesting for us as real estate investors because you've been competing with Zillow. You didn't even know it. They bought 27,000 houses, which was some houses you potentially could have bought. And they did it playing unfair. They paid more for the house than the house was really worth. They lost $304 million. Well, I got great news for you as we head into 2022. They're not going to be playing this game anymore. And some of the other iBuy houses, big companies like Zillow's, maybe reconsidering as they see what happened to Zillow, that their artificial intelligence isn't as good as they may think that it really is. CNBC says mortgage originations will drop 33% in 2022 as interest rates rise, according to industry forecasts. The average rate on the popular 30-year fixed loan will rise 4%, according to the Mortgage Bankers Association's forecast. Refinance originations will drop 62% in 2022 to $860 billion. However, mortgage originations for the purpose of buying a home are forecasted to rise 9% to a record $1.73 trillion in 2022. What's next for the real estate market? We asked chief economist at the National Association of Realtors, Lawrence Yun, to weigh in with this. So his feelings were somewhat mixed, and he thinks home sales will further decline in 2022, but I don't think that's going to be the case. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Goldman Sachs says 750,000 households could be evicted this year, and we're also dealing with some foreclosures. These are some foreclosures where about 14% of the 7.6 million FHA loans are in default. These are some of the cities and places where we're seeing some of the highest default rates, and something you should be keeping your eye on. And if you're not thinking about how you can go after non-owner occupied, i.e. landlords, or if you're not familiar how you can go after foreclosure properties, it's something you should really be thinking about. As housing boom begins to fizzle, weekly mortgage demand falls 7%. Weekly mortgage demand is falling along with it, down 6.9% for the week, according to the Mortgage Bankers Association seasonally adjusted index. That is the lowest level in almost a year and a half. Just a quick recap. I know we're getting to the end of December, but it's not over. So we're talking about November housing report. There is less inventory. Inventory declined by 26% over the last year, while the total inventory of unused homes sold pending listings declined 16.2, which is down 55% compared to last year. That's huge. There's more than half the number of homes right now on the market than there was 2 years ago. It's startling. New listing homes are down 0.7% compared to a year ago, 0.2% for large metro areas, so it was just 13% lower than it was from 2017 to 2019. The other thing we're seeing right now, median price is up, meaning all the houses you divide it, the prices are rising. The November national median listing price for active listings was $379,000, up 8.6% compared to last year and 22.4% compared to 2019. In large metro, median listing prices grew 4.5% compared to last year on average. Time on market is down. Nationally, the typical home spent 47 days on the market in November, down 10 days from the same time last year, down 23 days from 2019. 47 days on the market. Last month, last November was 10. It's down 23 days. Are you kidding me? Time on market. Potential sellers are not selling. 1 in 4 homeowners are choosing not to sell because they can't find a replacement home in the price range that they are going to be happy with. A lot of stuff going on, guys, in the news and what we are seeing. It's time for us to get in our property finding tip of the week. Hey, if you're enjoying this, type it in the comments. I'd love to see that, or in the chat. Love to see it. Property finding tip of the week. Today we're going to be talking about auctions. What is an auction? Typically, an auction is when a house is being sold in a bidding situation, meaning the house will be sold to the highest bidder if, well, there's a couple of different auction types. There's an absolute auction. It will cite to the highest bidder no matter what. That's very rare. There's a reserve. It will be sold if it meets the minimum reserve. This reserve is typically not disclosed, so you don't know what that minimum is. There's 2 types of auctions that are out there. There's public auctions and there's private auctions. I've purchased properties at both of these. A public auction is typically a foreclosure auction. This means it's going to be at the courthouse steps. It's typically by the trustee. In the court, it's going to be sold to the highest bidder. However, if there is a lender on there, they can bid up to what's owed, or they can bid less than what's owed, and then the property would sell for over that. So you've got to keep that in consideration. There's a reserve, and reserves that the bank owns, like we talked about. The bank can have a starting bid and then can bid against others until they meet and keep their reserves met. Basically, the bank can start the bid at $100, right? And then somebody can come in and say, well, I'll give you 1,000. And the bank can say, okay, 2,000, and the bank can keep going until they reach the point that pays them their principal, their interest, their fees, their attorney's costs, that type of thing. Now, banks may not go all the way up to that, and they may start bidding, but they have the right to go up to that. If they bid and the bank bids, then they end up being the owner of the property. If somebody outbids them, that's what they're going to be paying the bank for the amount of money that they agreed upon. So that's something to keep in mind. The highest bidder will get the property in most cases. Now, if there's an undisclosed reserve, which doesn't happen in foreclosure situations, but if there's an undisclosed reserve on a private auction, you won't know if you've met that reserve or not, typically for a few days. Foreclosure auctions, laws vary state by state. Typically, you've got to have $5,000 to $10,000 cashier's check. You actually typically make it out to yourself and then endorse it over to the attorney or the trustee when that actually happens if you are the winning bidder. Most cases, you're required to have the cash within 24 hours to pay the balance, so that's something you've got to be aware of, and the sales are typically at the county courthouse steps. The first time I attended one of these, I was absolutely shocked. Somebody flipped a garbage can upside down and said, "We're here for the XYZ property." The attorney throws down his papers. The second time it was out on a sidewalk in front of a government building. It's not some nice big room or open room or anything like that. It's just in the open. The second type of auction is private auctions. And let's talk just a little bit. Sorry, I'm getting a little cool in here, which is new. That's awesome. The second type of auction is private auctions. This means a private company or private seller is going to be going to auction. Don't get this confused with private invitations. Like, you can go. Basically, anybody can go. It's private because it is privately owned that is conducting the auction. Now, I've put a video together that goes over private auctions in detail called Private Auctions. Recommend you check it out. You will enjoy it. You get a full list of all the private auction sites if you check this video out. Okay, public auctions, Investor's Edge, pre-foreclosure and bank-owned homes. You can look at statuses. You look at what's actually going into auction, which I want to show you here really quickly. So let's just say Houston, we have a problem. Houston, Texas, here we go. So I can come here on Investor's Edge. I want to make sure you guys can see it okay. And I can just come in and say, hey, here we go. I can just come and say, what do we got going on for auctions in Houston? And there's 398 properties that have auctions. And then I can break it down and say, okay, I want properties that are not more than a certain price range. I can say I just want, let's just come here. Let me show you exactly. I just want single family houses that are going to auction, condos, and I don't really want any plexes. I mean, it's different for everybody, but if you want a plexes, you look at plexes. Maybe you want stuff that's not listed on the MLS. Or maybe you want stuff that is, let's say we only want stuff that's in auction that is going to be on the MLS. That's kind of interesting. So those are things you can look at. And then let's just say you can say I want stuff that's actually active. This talks about the status, and we could say we want something that's in auction, or we want something that's before that, which is a notice of default. With that, I got to dump this one. Sorry, guys. And notice of default. So these ones have some Liz pendants on there. Really interesting. There's not a ton yet, but it is coming. And that's why I want you guys to be prepared and ahead of the curve here. Why is this not going over? Let's get the slides working. Okay, there we go, guys. So remember, at public auction, you can't get inside the property in most cases. You don't get title insurance. You can end up buying a second or third lien position and not know it. Earnest money is completely non-refundable. Cash next day in many states. So let's get them before it gets to that point. So this is who you want to be listening to. How do you actually, this is who you're going to be working with. You can call. To do that, you actually have to do a skip trace. You can send postcards. You can send SMSs. You can email. Those are things I frequently get asked, what do I say? It's really easy. I'm looking for the owner of 123 Main Street. Are you interested in selling? Or if you know that they've got a problem with a bank like Liz Pendants or something, notice of default, I like to say, hey, I understand you're having some troubles with XYZ bank. I help people in these situations and wonder if we could talk, so then it becomes more legit. Now, lots of times if you do say that, they're gonna say, oh no, I've got it all handled. And I'll say, okay, well, let me double check, but I just looked at it and it shows that it's not handled. Let me check, and if it's not, I'm gonna call you back. And so I get their phone number, their email, cell phone number, those types of things. All right, guys, we're gonna jump into how to tell if you should fix and flip or burr, but I need a drink of water. How to tell if you should fix and flip, burr, or wholesale a deal. What I'm going to be covering today is the difference between fix and flips, burrs, and wholesale deals, when to use each method, and some of my pro tips to make a determination what is actually best for you. So let's get started by talking about each one of these and what they actually really are. So first, let's start with wholesaling. Wholesaling is getting a property under contract. And then you sell that contract to someone else for a fee. Let's say I get a property under contract for $100,000 and I sell my contract to someone for $10,000. I make $10,000 and they move forward with my contract of $100,000. The person that pays you closes on your contract. They move forward on that contract. You do an assignment. There are many ways to do wholesale deals, and it's really going to depend on where you're located. So there's assignments like I talked about earlier. There's double closings where you close and then they close using the same funds. There's simultaneous closings. There's where you actually close and you actually resell the property. And every state has a little bit different. So you're going to want to make sure you talk to an attorney or a title company that has an attorney to get you the right information on this. But any way you look at it, wholesaling is finding the deal, selling the deal, and you don't have to do any rehab, and you may not even have to get a loan to buy the property. So this is ideal for people that may be having some financial challenges. So who are wholesales good for? Excuse me, let's talk about. If you have serious credit challenges, this can be good. You may not need to get a loan if you can do the assignment. If you don't want to manage rehab and contractors, this could be a good thing for you if that's something you don't want to deal with. So then the question really is what are the downsides of wholesaling properties? Well, you have to get an even better deal than you would if you were just fix and flipping, because you're going to be selling this to a landlord or a fix and flipper. You're rarely going to be selling it to a homeowner because the property's probably going to need work. So you're going to have to get a deal that's even better than what somebody else would pay. So it's going to take a little more work and effort. You want to make some money, and so does the person that you're going to sell to is going to want to make some money. This can be difficult to find deals with this much margin. It takes a lot of work. So who would buy a wholesale deal from you? If you were going to sell a wholesale deal, who would be the person that would be buying this? Well, there's a couple of different buyers. There's fix and flip investors. They need to make about 10% after all costs with their hard money, with agent fees and all of their fees, their loan fees, anything, the rehab, the purchase, that type of stuff. That's what they're basically looking for. The other person that buys, and these guys typically pay a little bit more, is landlords. They're typically willing to pay a little more because instead of flipping the property, they're going to make their money over time. So they're looking for a cap rate. And basically that is what a rent's for divided by the total investment. So let me give you an example here. If a landlord buys a home for $100,000, let's say it's a $90,000 purchase with $100,000 or with a $10,000 wholesale fee, totally into it for $100,000. If they put $50,000 into the rehab, they are into this deal $150,000. So then we look at net rent. This is without a loan. If we're trying to calculate cap rate, we are not talking about a loan here. So the rent is, let's say it's $12,000 annually. Okay, property tax $1,500 annually, insurance $750 annually, property management $1,200 annually, maintenance $1,000 annually. So your total net income on this is $7,550. This is without a loan, right? You don't, whether you have a loan or don't, this is the great equalizer. You can analyze this property versus this property without the loan in there, because the loan could be good terms, bad terms, high, low, short term. They could be 30 years, it could be 5 years. So you take the loan out of the equation. You just say apples to apples. How much does this bring in minus costs, not including any financing? How much does this? And it helps you compare rental properties as to which one is better and which one's going to be a better investment. So pro tip, you don't have to include this as part of the loan. So $7,550. If it was $150,000 total property cost, you are basically looking at a cap rate of 5%. We're dividing those. The higher the cap rate, the better. That's something that people don't really understand or make sense. The higher the cap rate, the better. So if this was a 10 cap, that would be amazing. If it's a 2 cap, that would be not so good. The higher the cap rate, it's basically saying what return are you getting on that investment if you did not have any type of loan in place. Most landlords want to be somewhere between 5 and 8%, which is one of the reasons why landlords will pay a little bit more if you're actually wholesaling the property. Let's jump into fix and flips, guys. Fix and flips. This is buying a property, improving the property. You've probably heard this called value add. They want to add value to the property, then they can actually resell the property. That's the idea. Now, who is this best for? Who is best for these fix and flips? You got to have decent credit, okay? You don't have to have amazing credit, but you can't have bankruptcies, collections, charge-off, judgments. Those are typically no-goes. Fix and flip, you have to get a hard money loan. Okay, so that's one of the things. Someone has to manage the contractors. You've got to be a true project manager or have a true project manager. You've got to be on the project on a regular basis or have one of your representatives there on a regular basis if you're doing the fix and flip. So who is this not best for? Someone that does not want to manage contractors. If you do not want to manage contractors, stick with wholesaling. If you have horrible credit, you probably should stick with wholesaling and doing assignments until you can fix that credit up. But long-term, you're going to have to fix that credit, because if you want long-term, you're going to have to buy some rental properties. Someone that does not want to take on little risk, a little higher risk. You know, doing the rehab is a little more risk. You never know what you're going to find when you get behind the walls. It could be a little more rehab than what you're expecting. You're taking on a little bit of risk. But I think the biggest risk is doing nothing. I think that's the biggest risk. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Burr Deals, BRRR. What does this mean? What does it stand for? Buy a property with hard money, renovate the property, rent the property, and refinance the property. That's where the acronym BRRR actually comes from, okay? So who is BRRR for? Well, someone that has good credit. And here is the reason why. You have to find a lender that will refinance you out of the hard money loan. So that could be a bank, could be a credit union, it could be a local bank, a national bank, but you're going to be going to a bank that's going to refinance you. Now, that's not who's going to give you the loan originally, but you want to get approved for the refinance, contingent upon the purchase, and then you take that to the hard money lender. You want to talk to the hard money lender first, make sure they can do it. Then you'll want to get pre-approved, get everything done so you know you've got the takeout financing. So this is known as what's called a rate and term refinance. The reason why it's a rate and term is instead of having a rate of 15% or 18%, you're going to get a rate of 5 or 6%. Instead of having a term of 5 or 6 months, you're going to get a term for 30 years. So you're refinancing the rate and the term. So that's what we're talking about here. So you want to get a pre-approval for takeout financing in advance, and most hard money lenders that are going to do these loans are going to want you to do that. So make sure they don't have a long seasoning requirements. Seasoning requirements is how long you own the property. It's ideal if you can own the property for 6 months and do the refinance. You're also going to want to know what type of loan to value. If the property is worth $100,000 on their appraisal, will they lend $80,000 or $75,000 on that? If so, that is your target as to how much you want to have in the property, because if you can do that, you're basically getting a cash flowing asset without putting a lot of money or very little of your own money into it, which means you're getting an infinite return on that money. Now, a pro tip, you can use the money from the rents to help you qualify for the loan. This helps with what's called debt to income. Debt to income is how much you make divided by what you're obligated to pay. The percentage of that is what banks are looking at to see if you can cover that debt service. Well, if you don't make a ton of money and then you get this $7,000, $12,000 a year in rents, that will be added to your income, which will put your debt to income a little bit better and should make you to qualify for that property, even if your margins are a little bit tight. Make sure you take out financer lender is using this. Make sure they're using that income, that they're doing that as part of it. So who is Burr best for? That's the question that we get asked. Rather than selling the property and making $30,000 and not selling the asset, you're keeping the equity. So you have an unrealized gain, and then you pay taxes when you realize the gain. However, currently you can do 1031 exchange and keep rolling that. So the idea is, if you're in a higher tax bracket, or if you don't want to pay a ton in taxes, you can say, rather than selling this property and making $30,000, I'm just going to keep it. I don't have to pay taxes on that $30,000. I'll pay taxes on the income I get. And if and when I sell the property, that's when I will deal with paying taxes. Okay, taxes. You pay taxes on the rental profit after all expenses. If you sell after a year, you can get long-term capital gains rather than ordinary income. That can be happy. That can be very helpful. Again, I'm not an attorney. I'm not a CPA. Check on your specific situation. This is for educational purposes. Cash flow. Cash flow is what builds wealth, okay? Who is Burr Not best for? If you've got bad credit, you can't do it because you have to get a takeout financing to do the loan. If you don't want to manage a property or deal with that, you're not going to do it. You could probably find a property manager that could do it, but you're going to want to have somebody has to manage this property. That is the big thing here. My experience has been, it's very difficult to find a good property manager. So personally, we manage all our own properties. That's the way we like it. We feel like we do a lot better. How do you make money with Burr Rentals? Well, making money with Burr, you get your cash flow. You get your amortization, that's spelled wrong. Tenant pays down the loan, that's what that is. Appreciation, the value goes up over time into the long term. And tax benefits, okay? Tax benefits when you're doing this because you're gonna have some write-offs. So there's a lot of ways you make money with rental properties, but you're not making it all in once like with a wholesale or a fix and flip. So the question then rises here, how do you know what to do, okay, on a specific deal? How do you know what to do on a specific deal? So step one is determine what are you able to do, okay? What are you able to do? If you have bad credit, you're going to have to improve that before you can do Burr Deals. So if you've got bad credit, then you're looking at wholesales or fix and flips. If you've got horrible credit, you're looking just at wholesale. So if you have okay credit, you can do the fix and flips or the wholesales, but if your credit isn't that great, you're gonna have to do wholesale. So determine what options you have, right, personally. Maybe you have all three, maybe you have two, and maybe you just have one. It's really gonna come down to your credit and what you have on there. Step two is to run some projections, okay? Run some projections on the deal for what you are able to do. If you're able to wholesale and you're able to fix and flip, run projections on both of those to see what you think is going to be most profitable. If you're only able to do the wholesale, just do the wholesale, and that may only be wholesale, and you put a projections together on that, on what it would look like, or it could be wholesaling and fix and flipping, okay? So you create a spreadsheet with these options of what you're able to do, and then you look at how much you'll make with each one of these options. Now you take and look at time, your return on time. How much time is it gonna take? If you have to fix it and flip the property and take on the loan and do all the rehab, take care of the contractors, deal with the risk of prices going up or down, deal with the risk of having to do more repairs than you thought you were, if you're dealing with that, and you make $20,000, but you could have wholesaled the property and made $12,000, would you rather wholesale the property In lots of cases, the answer would be, yeah, probably I'd rather wholesale the property than spend get $20,000 with taking on increased risk. That's a better deal for me. But if it's, I can wholesale the property for 10 grand and I can make 70 grand if I fix and flip it, well, I probably want to do the fix and flip as long as I am able to make that happen based upon your own situations, as we talked about a little bit earlier. So how much risk do you take with each one is a big question. So step number 3 is determine your circumstances. Determine what option is best for you based upon your options and the profit. Remember, you want a return on money and you want a return on time, as we have been talking about. All right, guys, there you have it. The difference between BRRR, wholesale, and fix and flip. How to know what works best for you. How do you know what works best in your situations? I really appreciate you being with us. As promised, if you want to get a copy of that assignment of contract, all you got to do is text your email address to 435-294-0433. Again, text your email address to 435-294-0433. Now, if you'd like some help with some of these things, we have our Find, Fund, Flip system. F3, finding courses, resources, calculator, software, and support. Check us out at DoHardMoney.com/get started. DoHardMoney.com/get started. If you've enjoyed what you've heard today, share the live link on YouTube or with friends. Check out our podcast called Income Hacker. Share our Do Hard Money YouTube channel. We really appreciate it. Again, if you want to get a copy of that assignment of contract, which is what you use when you wholesale, text your email address to 435-294-0433. 435-294-0433. All right, guys, as promised, it is that time of the day for the t-shirt giveaway. Okay, the t-shirt giveaway. Who is our t-shirt winner for this week? Drum roll, please. Eric Christensen. Eric, congratulations. Really appreciate you being with us. Appreciate you being our t-shirt winner of the week. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the motivation. So Eric, I need to have you email support@DoHardMoney.com. Put in the subject line, you're the shirt winner. Give us your mailing address, your cell phone number, and your shirt size. You can also tell us what shirt you like the best. We're always going to do size over style, but if we can accomplish both, that would be awesome based upon what we've got in inventory and what's available. So everybody that's participated this week and throughout the week, find out if you're our t-shirt winner by joining us next Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you haven't already, text me your email address to 435-294-0433 so you can get a copy of that assignment. So next Tuesday, 6 p.m., I'm going to cover how to find a deal in Q1 of 2022. You are not going to want to miss this. If you haven't already, text me that email address, 435-294-0433, to get a copy of that assignment of contract. And if you're interested in some help, you can check out our Find, Fund, Flip system. Just go head on over to DoHardMoney.com, where we have funding, courses, resources, calculator, software, and support. All right, guys, make it a very profitable day. Thank you for being with me. Have a great holiday season, and we will see you soon.